Your life is your life. Don't let it be clubbed into dank submission. You can't beat death, but you can beat death in life. And the more often you learn to do it, the more light there will be. There are ways out. There is a light somewhere. If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind. Go all the way. It could mean not eating for 3 or 4 days. It could mean freezing on a park bench. It could mean jail. It could mean derision, mockery, isolation. Isolation is the gift. All the others are a test of your endurance, of how much you really want to do it. And you'll do it, despite rejection and the worst odds. And it will be better than anything else you can imagine. If you're going to try, go all the way. There is no other feeling like that. You will be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. All the way. All the way. You will ride life straight to perfect laughter. It's the only good fight there is. Your life is your life. Don't let it be clubbed into dank submission. Beyond the watch. There are ways out. There is a light somewhere. It may not be much light, but it beats the darkness. Beyond the watch, the gods will offer you chances. Know them. Take them. You can't beat death, but you can beat death in life, sometimes. And the more often you learn to do it, the more light there will be. Your life is your life. Know it while you have it. You are marvelous. The gods wait to delight in you. If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind. Go all the way. It could mean not eating for 3 or 4 days. It could mean freezing on a park bench. It could mean jail. It could mean derision, mockery, isolation. Isolation is the gift. All the others are a test of your endurance, of how much you really want to do it. And you'll do it, despite rejection and the worst odds. And it will be better than anything else you can imagine. If you're going to try, go all the way. There is no other feeling like that. You will be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. All the way. All the way. You will ride life straight to perfect laughter. It's the only good fight there is.
I think there's only two people. I think it's me and you. Watching.
I don't care. I just do it for the clout. For the Instagram follows.
I do it all for the money.
We do it all for the clout. If anyone is tuned in,
Well, we got
keep
somebody.
on tuning it in. Oh yeah, we don't have the Instagram behind the scenes.
No.
Tonight. So there's 3 people watching.
Yeah.
So whoever is watching, I don't know if there is anyone watching. It might just be me watching on like 3 separate pages. But feel free to type something in the comments, and that way we can give you a shout out and know who's here, who's watching. But for anyone watching or tuned in, we're just gonna go ahead and take a moment, let people settle into their seats, get some popcorn, buckle up. We got an interesting show tonight. Couple good things in the mix. Bill, audio sounds good.
Check, check. 1, 2.
Behind the scenes Bill is in front of the camera Bill this week. Shout out to Chris. He's got a dental thing, right? Dental,
Yeah.
Dental stuff.
Oh, I got a funny joke.
Bill's got a funny joke. You want to tell your joke?
You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Since not too many people listen.
I mean, we're live, yeah.
What's the first thing Cinderella said at the ball?
I don't know, Bill. Is that like a blowjob joke?
It takes a second to get.
Like at the ball, like balls?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. You filthy animal. I feel like I got some good color, huh? You got some good color. Out there in La La Land. You got some good decent color going. Got the robe on this week. Alright, so since people are trickling in or not trickling in or what, we might as well get started. But
my boy Eric Mullen. What's up, Eric?
What up, Eric?
What's up, Warrior?
See, why don't I see you know this? Are you on YouTube or Facebook?
I went on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't see any of the comments. Let me know if we got some good comments going through, because for whatever reason it's not showing on my thing. Shout out to Eric.
My boy Warrior.
Warrior style. Shout out NoHo Pawn.
NoHo.
What's the
House of Pawn?
What's the website?
NoHoPawn.com. House of Pawn. Or
I feel like you should change that.
jeez,
Like the name and the web address should be the same.
they should, but somebody stole House of Pawn. Dang, some guy in like Alabama.
So maybe change. You got to change one then.
I can't change the name, House of Pawn.
Alright.
See, it makes sense because it's in North Hollywood, so NoHo Pawn, but there's a North Hollywood Pawn too.
Oh, we are just lost Lost in the Sauce live. Chris Shea behind the scenes. Chris Shea is here watching live on YouTube. Shout out to Chris, who is our normal co-host, but he had a little bit of a dental appointment today, I believe, so I don't know if he's much on the mic, but he is in our hearts, as always, and in the comments, live.
Sorry, everybody. The usual really good-looking guy is in here. So
You're equally good looking. Don't just wait. I'll get to your intro here in a second.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? I'll get there. I haven't thought it through completely, but it's gonna be epic. Epic. So thank you for everyone for tuning in here. We're gonna count it down, and then actually let's do our meditation first, and then we'll count it down and we'll go live. I mean, we're already live technically, but if you were to cut this footage, you could be like 3, 2, 1. Like if we go to like Spotify or like iTunes, we'll like cut all this nonsense out. And maybe we won't. Who knows?
Like Joe Rogan does.
We'll keep it.
3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, you're live. We need graphics. I need like an animation. Like, you know, I want like an intro video with like a bunch of cutscenes and like skydive shit. It'd be dope. All right, 30-second quick. So for those of you who are tuned in, as is tradition with the Lost in the Sauce show, we're going to start with a quick little get centered 30-second meditation. It's probably closer to 15 seconds. Feel free to participate. If not, we will get started shortly. How you feeling?
Feeling good.
Are you ready?
Are
you ready to
so
just
ready.
get after it?
Let's do this.
All right, count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are live. The Lost in the Sauce show. I don't know what episode we're on. I barely know what day of the week it is, but I am your host, Ryan Andrew Rhodes, aka Killshot California. And ladies and gentlemen, back by popular demand, my lovely, lovely, lovely step-in co-host, not to supersede my actual co-host, but you know him, you love him as behind-the-scenes Bill. He is front and center today in front of the camera. Behind-the-scenes Bill, how you feeling?
Oh, thank you for that introduction very much. I'm doing great.
Are you nervous?
No, I'm actually pumped up.
You
today.
look calmer today.
Yeah,
is that
much
a word?
calmer.
More calmer, whatever.
Since I'm not in front of the camera, but I have been speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look more relaxed.
Yeah.
Ready to get in. Ready to dive in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
Chris,
ready
we got
for
a
this
good
episode.
we got a good show for you, bud. I know you're watching on YouTube and you're sorely missed. I'm sure the audience is all the 3 viewers we have in the comments are gonna absolutely miss your presence. But we personally, I know Bill and I speak for the two of us. Wish you were here. We hope you're feeling better after that dental appointment. I'm sure you'll pull through just fine. But as is tradition, we have lots of traditions on the Lost in the Sauce show. Let's get into our weekend, and then we can jump into some topics. So, Bill, how was your weekend, brother?
My weekend was great. We do a thing, as you know, go golfing every weekend. What did I do Saturday?
Didn't you hit Saturday too, or Friday?
No, I hit Thursday, and then
You got 9 holes in on Thursday.
got 9 holes in before we did our thing, and that was great. It was a great 9 holes. I lost the very last hole. He birdied.
With 34, something 35.
Yeah, I got a 34. He got a 30. No, I got 35. He got 33.
Okay.
Yeah, he birdied the last hole.
And you bogeyed the last hole?
I bogeyed the last hole.
I hate that 9th hole.
That sucks.
Pain
And
in
then
the ass.
we played 36 holes, which was great but exhausting. I went home, took a bath with my son. I was done.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I had a full day after that. Yeah, Chris, you missed out. We had played a solid 36 on Sunday. It was good. And then let's see. So your weekend was good.
Yeah. And how was yours?
Feeling good, dude. So remember, we played 36 holes. We've said it 4 times. But during the round, you remember where I fell down over the bag, dude. I like completely bruised my back, my tailbone. Like I got jacked up. I still feel it.
Really?
Oh yeah. But playing well, playing consistent. It was crazy. Like when we first started, how like shooting under 40, which is essentially just 1 over bogey golf for the 9 holes, was like such a big deal. You know what I mean? But now I'm consistently shooting under 40 with like not like I'm not putting in effort, but Like I'm capable of much more than that. You know what I mean? Like between 3 and 5 under. I think my record is what 34 now or 35, something like
35.
that. I think it's my new record. But yeah, dude, my back's all jacked up. After that, did the VR over at Manifest, which was fun for like the 100th time, but I had fun. And then on Friday, I think it was Friday, I did a Rage Room. You ever heard of one of these?
No.
It's where you go somewhere and you like rent out a room and they bring in all these like perishable, like fragile things. And you like break stuff for like a half hour. I was gonna talk to you about this as like actual business idea because they charged me $130 for like 5 things for half an hour. That's ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
But does it work?
You know, it was something new, and if I was to do it again, and like I used to have issues with anger management when I was a teenager. I think a lot of people struggle with that, but not as much lately. It's actually probably an emotion I maybe even consequently sort of stay away from because of sort of shame and stuff in the past. But it would be something I'd probably prefer to do alone. Like it was more of an intimate, because you're kind of like in that psychopath like mindset. You don't want other people to see you like that. You know what I mean? But it was interesting. It was fun. Would I recommend it? I would recommend it for someone if you had a rough day, you just got fired, you just broke up with your girl or whatever, to go to one of these places by yourself and have at it. That's what I would recommend. But as like a couples thing or a date night, it was a little strange. But I enjoyed myself. I was beating up the fax machine and the typewriters and the glasses and the dishes, and it was pretty cool. They're really big in Asia, actually. I want to say Japan was the first place to do them. They have such a huge, like overworked suicide. There's a lot of stuff going on there.
They don't show their emotions.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was sort of where, at least from my knowledge, there could be someone out there who knows more. But that, from the best of my knowledge, that's where it started. Kind of was in Japan. So kind of a cool gig. But I mean, talk about a pretty turnkey business. I mean, it's similar to the VR, but all you need is like dishes and bottles. I mean, you go get these at like you dumpster dive to grab this stuff. You know what I mean? And there's not going to be any technological, bell curve to where you're going to be outdated. Like people will always want to break beer bottles, and they haven't changed shapes in 100 years.
That sounds like fun.
It was fun. It was fun, but like I said, better to do by yourself. Like if you're really going there to like hash it out, like get some shit done, you can get some shit done.
Yeah.
But like to bring like a group of friends, it was a little like awkward. I thought. But it was still fun. New experience, which was cool. We got a couple things going on. We have a big week.
Yeah.
We have our golf tournament on Sunday, and then Saturday we're going skydiving. So I know Chris is in the chat. You're here next to me, and we have a couple others. I don't want to put their business out there, but we have a pretty big group going skydiving this weekend. And it's your first jump, second jump? Second jump tandem. I got Chris going tandem. I got a bunch of other tandems. I personally, the host, Killshot California, has 53 jumps. I'm a licensed skydiver, so I'll be jumping on my own, which is nice. But I got to do a recurrency, so I have to go out there, jump with a coach, because I haven't jumped in 2 years. Prove to them that I'm not going to be dangerous or unsafe in the air. So I'm looking forward to that. It's cool to see your guys' reaction, because I have the group chat going. I got everybody, I need your birth date, I need your emails, and like it's happening.
Yeah.
And to sort of see that energetically, even just through chat, it's kind of fun to like watch everyone sort of get ready mentally.
I love Chris's response
to jump out of an airplane.
Chris is a little worried about it.
He'll be all right. Chris, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be just
great.
fine. My mom has 20 something skydives. She's 60 years old.
Yeah.
So it's a safe sport.
They don't make accidents you feel
happen.
safe,
I mean, accidents can happen surfing.
Yeah,
you know
they don't
I mean?
make you feel safe when you have to sign the waiver.
Yeah,
I don't know if you had to sign the waiver.
You had to sign a waiver at K1 Racing, the go-karts.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But the guy's speaking and he's telling you, "Hey, if you die, we're not responsible."
Yeah, it's on you.
Yeah, they just say a lot of stuff that makes you go, "Wow."
Yeah. So I've actually tried to ask myself, because I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie, and I try to put together all the activities that scare me the most. And since I've sky doven or doved or divin or whatever the past tense, dived ed.
I don't know what it is.
So many times, it's not really scary to me anymore. It's exhilarating. There's adrenaline there, piloting, getting safe. Like when I pull my chute, like clearing a malfunction if I have one, like that's definitely scary stuff. But to me, I was like, what are the activities that really, really scare me? And my top 3 are skydiving, big wave surfing, and street racing. And I actually think that big wave surfing is the scariest activity that I do.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I've never been big wave surfing. I've been out there when it's been big, and that's the scariest thing for sure. You're by yourself.
There's no waiver. There's
yeah,
no.
It's just, and you can get beat up when you get caught inside, which I have. Yeah, drowning is probably the worst way that I could think of dying.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, drowning, because I've almost been there. I've felt it, and yeah, that's one of my biggest fears.
If I had to like put like my heart rate, like if I was on a heart monitor, I think big wave surfing is probably the scariest thing that I do. And we're talking 20 plus.
I've never been that big.
I've been out in 30 plus, but I've never ridden a wave that's that big. But just to be out there and like when the sets come in and you gotta swim, and they break way out there. The bigger they get, the further out they break. And I mean, this is body surfing. This isn't actually stand-up surfing. This is just you swimming. So there's no life preserver essentially to save energy. You're treading water the entire session, and like it can get pretty intense. But I'm excited. I'm excited to get you guys out there. A little bit of a bummer. I just found out my damn skydive jumpsuit was stolen in that robbery a while back.
Yeah.
Kind of bogus. But I still got my helmet. I got my log. The log is really important. And I can grab like another altimeter or something.
Have you ever, when you sent in one of your 53 skydives, have you ever had a problem?
Yeah, I've had 2. I've had 2 line twists. So a line twist is when you pull your chute and the parachute is curled around itself, similar to like when you're a kid on the swing set and you curl the swing up like just a spiral,
portion of
right?
it is kind of sticking out.
So it's doing this, and the bag itself above you, the canopy, is just struggling to open. It's like a streamer. It's like a streamer going through the air. And when you're a new skydiver, it's actually a pretty serious thing. But as an experienced skydiver, it's very easy. But I'm talking about like emotionally, like nerves, adrenaline, like dealing with, this is a malfunctioning parachute. If I don't change anything, I will die. Like that mind, right? To be in that place is crazy. The first one I got was when I packed my own chute. The very first line twist I ever got. I packed my own parachute, and the instructor's like, it looks good. Like you're going to be safe. You'll have a great ride. And I freaking pull the thing, and it's just doing this above me like a streamer. And I was like, oh my God. So I knew how to do it. I was trained many hours on how to do it. So I cleared the malfunction and was good to go and landed safely. I've never had a cutaway, which is when you actually have to cut away your main chute.
You don't have to
go
cut
to
away
a
when it
reserve.
malfunctions? You fix it?
You can fix it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a fixable malfunction.
Okay.
It's not a hole in the parachute. There's a hole. If you would have signed up for the classes, you would have learned all this stuff. But there's a bunch of different classifications of malfunctions. You have like cells that don't inflate properly. So like the parachute is divided into sections, and some of your sections aren't full with air, so the parachute's kind of acting peculiar. And then you have actual holes in canvas. Like if you can look up and see sky, like that's a bad parachute. You don't want to see that.
No. I don't even like actually talking about it right now.
It's pretty wild.
I don't want any of those issues.
So I've never had a cutaway. There's people who've had hundreds of cutaways. You know what I mean? But thank God I haven't had one yet. Maybe I'll have one this weekend. Who knows? But I'm prepared. I feel prepared. I know how to clear this stuff. And I don't pull my chute low enough to run into any super huge issues with altitude. I try to give myself a nice buffer, and that's where a lot of people get into trouble. It's cool to pull low, like, oh yeah, pulling at again 3,000, 3,500, whatever. But I don't push the limits like that. But I'm excited. I'm excited for you guys for sure. Are you a little nervous now? Excited? What do you think?
No, you know what? Last time I went, my wife took me. It was for a birthday. It was a secret birthday for Valentine's. I forgot what it was. One of them. And I wasn't expecting it. I didn't know where we were going. So it was kind of put on last second. And I was like, oh, shit. But it's something I've always wanted to do. And no, I've been more excited. It's a nervous excitement. It's not a scared. It's a nervous excitement. So no, I'm not scared at all. I've done it. It's great. The feeling that 15, 20 seconds I had was, I can't explain it.
What do you think was the scariest part for you?
Jumping out of the plane.
Like the actual exit itself. Yeah.
For me, flipping.
Yeah. For me, it was the plane ride.
Oh, really?
My very first jump, the scariest thing for me was the anticipation of the jump itself. like the morning of, like you got the little bubble guts. But once you get on the plane, I was the last to exit because tandems go last unless there's wingsuits and other stuff. But the tandems go last, and I was with a group of friends, and they all went first, and I was the last one to go. So I'm watching them go, and I'm in my head, I'm like, oh shit, they're experiencing what I'm about to experience. Like that's crazy. Like I was just sort of putting it all into my head, and I was just like, oh my god. Like, and then once I exited the airplane, I became so, it's like sensory overload. Like it was so much going on that like I don't know if I had even time to be like, oh, I'm scared. Like it wasn't that really, you know what I mean? But they actually did a study and hooked skydivers up to heart rate monitors, and they said that the heart rate peaks at the time of deployment.
Yeah.
The scariest part, technically, biologically, is when you pull your chute.
That's what mine was. But then when I also did it, I had the people filming me. So the guy had his camera on his wrist, so I'm hamming up to the cam when I should kind of be enjoying myself, and then somebody else is diving with the camera, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, woo. So I wasn't paying attention how scary it was. You know, it was different. So this time I'm going to pay complete attention.
Chris says he's been watching all the YouTube skydiving fails.
Oh, there's one with the old lady. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I've seen them. I don't like to. You know what I mean? It happens. Dude, it's more dangerous to drive your car to the drop zone than it is to jump out of an airplane.
I'm not worried about anything bad happening.
Yeah, but it's also good not to like, you know, he's making it worse on himself. Like going and researching all the fails and like seeing how possibly bad it could get. Like you know, save yourself the anxiety. So yeah, super excited about skydiving. You want to scroll a little bit on our outline? Yeah. And all right, so we got a couple different topics today. We got the golf tournament coming up. My first golf tournament, that's going to be super fun. That's on Sunday. So we have Saturday skydiving. I'm actually going to jump. I'm driving up to the drop zone Thursday night, jumping Friday and Saturday, and golfing Sunday. So I'm going to be absolutely exhausted. It's going to be a long weekend. Are you excited about the golf tournament?
Yeah. I'm a little worried. My brother hasn't played in a while.
Is he still in? He's like, yeah, I'm playing. I'm playing.
Okay. I made sure on Sunday. I texted him and he said, yeah, he was in. So it'll be fun. I mean, regardless, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's courses. It's about just
having
fun.
I wish we were playing our side.
Yeah.
We're playing the small side, which is whatever. It's not like more challenging. It's just we don't have a lot of course time. You know what I mean? We've played it maybe twice, I think.
Well, yeah, and plus I think the markers are wrong, and those mats are like hitting off concrete.
Yeah.
But no,
it's for charity.
Yeah, it's. I started reading a little bit. I think someone's sick, and it's
it's for cancer or something. Yeah, lung cancer, I think. So for a good cause, if you want to get involved in the tournament, it's at Van Nuys Golf Course, Sunday, March 10th. And I believe it starts at like 8 a.m. or something.
Starts at 8 a.m., get a free breakfast, and then 9 a.m. I think is...
yeah, and if you want to just show up and play, I'm sure that'd be fine.
Laker Girl is going to be there, a few celebs.
Yeah. And then if you want to join us for the skydiving, we're going to be at Skydive Paris the Saturday of that weekend, which is the 9th. I'll be up there Friday the 8th if you want to come out early. But we'll have a big group of us out there on Saturday. They have a pool out there. They have a restaurant. They have indoor skydiving if maybe regular skydiving isn't quite your speed. And all sorts of really fun, and just like the energy out there is like super, super high energy, adrenaline. It's kind of a really neat little culture. Everyone who I've taken out there who's jumped for the first time leaves like super stoked, like researching the course. Oh, I want to get my license and this and that. So come join us. It'll be a blast. Get a little uncomfortable, a little manifest lifestyle stuff. But it should. I'm super pumped. It's been so long, right? It's been a little over 2 years since I've jumped, so I'm excited. With that being said, I think we might want to get into our first subtopic of the show. So we had a little bit of a conversation. Bill was down the rabbit hole on YouTube or Facebook or something, and he saw an advertisement for what, Bill?
For Manscaping.
It was like a razor or something.
Yeah, it's a new trimmer, and I think the first sentence is, "Have you ever nicked your nuts? You won't with this," or something similar to that. And I was like, yes, I've nicked my nuts many times.
Let's keep listening.
Let's see what this thing has to offer. And yeah, it's a new shaver that you don't nick your nuts, and it's a full Manscaped. You know, you shave. I believe it's everything with this trimmer. And so yeah, I brought that up, and and that kind of became a good subject to talk about as far as manscaping and if that's a popular thing. I know it is in my life. I know it is in your life now too after a little conversation, and how important that is to first off your loved ones or your significant other, whoever it may be, as men. And I've been manscaping since I was 18 years old, so I've been manscaping for 30, little less than 30 years, and that's always been important. I've always thought to myself, hey, if I want a woman to be shaven and clean cut, I'm sure she doesn't want some big bushy. It's got to be similar.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't want that, and yeah, so manscaping has been a big part of my life, and ways to do it when you're trying to use a razor when you're first starting to get in the right clippers that don't nick your nuts. It's a whole ordeal.
Let me ask you this: did you order the clippers?
No, I just saw it today, but am I gonna?
You're like
yes.
thinking about ordering it?
It's gonna happen.
Right on. So yeah, for me, I'll kind of intro the segment like this, is that I definitely know people who don't, as far as men. We're talking about manscaping, not womanscaping. But I definitely know that culturally, being in Southern California, it is something that's more popular. I have the pleasure of meeting people from all over the country doing what we do, and there's guys that that's not the thing, and even the girls, like, they don't want it. They want more of a masculine, air quotes, masculine, traditional hairy chest. I want like a little bit of grit and grizzle, and that's sort of what they're into. But us out here I don't want to speak for everyone, but I know for me that out in California, it's something like, metrosexuality, like men who are well groomed, fingernails cut, hair trimmed, and I mean, there's guys out there wearing eyeliner, which is a little I don't know if I could do that, but that's like a thing too. But manscaping, definitely a huge piece. Something that I advocate personally to like men out there who are wondering like, oh, what other things could I be doing to make myself more attractive to the opposite sex? First of all, I guess the great question you got to ask is like ask them what they're into, and then sort of create that. But if hasn't been a conversation, I would assume that taking care of yourself, having good hygiene is a plus. Like I can't for the life of me figure out how this would be a bad thing. But I also do know that some people just aren't into it. Some girls aren't into it. Some men aren't into it.
I've been with I've been with a woman who is like, you look like a little boy.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
He goes, grow the bush. Like, are you crazy? I don't find it sexy or
you feel less sexy.
Yeah, I feel much better when I'm clean, and now I'm married, and I still manscape, but not. I gotta be honest, it's not as
tedious or time consuming.
Now
detailed.
It used to be probably every 2 weeks, and I'd always. Now it's probably like once every month and a half.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you let her go for a little bit.
It goes for a little bit. Luckily, I'm not a hairy person in general, so it's not bad. But yeah, it's since I've been married, it's grown out.
It's changed
to bad.
The routine
levels.
has changed,
and it's just because I'm working so much. I got kids.
Here's a question. Here's a good question. Do you think that you do it for your partner or for yourself?
Oh, for my partner and myself, for both, really. But I don't want to sound too forward, but when my wife is going down on me, she doesn't, want any of that. I don't want that either. Hygiene.
But you also said that it makes you feel good, makes you feel more confident,
100%,
and like well put together.
Yeah,
it's like going to the gym, right?
And it makes my wiener look bigger.
Nice. All right,
it's very important.
I will say, as far as have I nicked my nuts? Absolutely. That's just part of the game, right? That's part of the manscaping game, is that you're bound to have a misstep here and there. But I got it. I got the routine pretty dialed for myself. I'm very committed, right? I would even argue to say that, like, I don't know if I've had a sexual encounter in the last, how old am I? 20 years that I haven't been manscaped in. Like, purposefully, like, oh, I know I could be, or I'm seeing my girlfriend later, or this girl this, or who knows, maybe what if I'm going out, or like I said, there's already a plan in place. I'm showered, shaved, in and out almost very, very regularly. I even trim my armpit hair. I don't cut my arm hair or my leg hair, But like the rest of it, I like to be pretty put together.
Yeah, I do my ass, my armpits, my chest. I keep it all very.
Keep it tight.
Yeah, you have to.
How about the ass? That's awkward,
yeah,
right?
That one is awkward. That one, I've nicked my ass. That's not pleasant.
Dude,
either.
I've nicked the gooch in
Yeah,
between.
yeah,
Oh my god, it just bleeds and bleeds.
Yeah, it's not fun. But yeah, you get a routine down. You got to get the leg up and the mirror, and it's like if anybody walked in, it would be pretty embarrassing shaving your asshole. But yeah, it's something I definitely do.
Absolutely. Trimmers or razor?
I can't do I've done the razor a few times, but yeah, trim.
Yeah, I'm razor. I'm a razor guy.
That's cool.
And I'm super vulnerable when I'm doing it. I'm very shy and bashful, but it's 100% absolutely happening.
Oh yeah.
Like if I'm gonna see my girl or a girl in the past or whatever, like 100%. 100%.
Yeah. I've done it. Just yeah, it's hard. It's not. It's a difficult position to be in.
Well, I think you brought up a good point. It's like it's something that I would like reciprocated in a relationship also, not just womanscaping, if you want to call it that, but like good hygiene. Someone who takes care of their body, of their skin, or whatever. I think that's something, which is actually a brilliant segue into the meat and potatoes topic of the night, ladies and gentlemen. So I was taking a shower. I may have even been manscaped. I'm serious. I may have actually been in mid manscape when I came up with this idea. But I thought it would be interesting discussion, not just for Bill and I to have, but for people who are watching, both men and women. We even got some insiders. We got some female insiders to give us some perspective on this topic. But we started out with our top 5. So what do men want out of a woman in a relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to write down, what do men think women want from men in a relationship, their top 5. And then also we went and did some research with the opposite sex and asked them the same question. What are your top 5 things that you want from a man in a relationship? And then also, what are the top 5 things that you think men want in a relationship? And I thought it would be a kind of a good place to see where there's overlap and see where there's disconnects, and sort of have a conversation about that. So we ended up with 10, I think, on each, right?
Yeah.
I think we ended up with 10. But once we go through the 10, we'll be able to narrow it down to sort of a top 5. It's really, really hard to give you just 5. Like, oh, it has to be this, because there's a very close 6, 7, and 8, and all that other stuff that's in there. Let's see, we got some stuff going on in the chat.
That's what I was checking.
So, without further ado, right? So, what do men want from a woman? Do you wanna rattle them off, or shall I?
Sure. I'll rattle off what men want, and then you could go ahead and rattle off what women want. So number 1. Now these are not in any particular order.
I'll give you my top 5 after we're done.
We want a woman who's supportive, trustworthy. Their sexual chemistry / they're adventurous. That's just not in bed, just adventurous in general.
Adventurous spirit.
Yeah, adventurous spirit.
Open-minded.
Genetics. They come from a good family. That could be wealthy or could mean other things.
Good, supportive.
Supportive, yeah. Intelligent and humor. They have to have a good sense of humor and be, if you're smart, you usually.
Yeah, like wittiness.
Yeah,
so
witty,
like humor and intelligence are very, very commonly sort of intertwined in that way.
We want a woman who's independent. That means that they don't need to be with you at all times. They have their own stuff.
They're their own
on.
person.
Yes,
have their own lives.
Beautiful.
Own friends.
Speaking of manscaping, their hygiene. They're very hygienic. They take care of themselves. For me, one of the main things, this would be in my top 5, is a natural beauty.
So a girl who doesn't wear a lot of makeup?
Yeah. Doesn't need it. You wake up to the same girl you went to bed with. Just naturally a beautiful person, inside and out. But yeah, what I mean by natural beauty was no makeup and all that. Doesn't need that. A very feminine woman. I'm old school. I think a man should be masculine and a woman should be feminine. That's just how I am. That's how I was raised. So a feminine woman. I want a strong, independent woman, but that's feminine. Not. I need feminine.
Mm-hmm.
Femininity. And then
Femininity.
spiritually fit, spirituality. They have something they believe in, not necessarily religious wise, but just they know between right and wrong, and they're just in general good people.
Absolutely. Here, but you go back up to the top because I want to like sort of break down a couple of these as far as why. So like pretty much half of these you listed, half of these we sort of did the list together.
Yeah.
But I think having a woman who's supportive. So when I broke that down, I found that one of the best things in a relationship, especially being an entrepreneur, someone who is growing a business, a new business, who takes a lot of risk at work, who does sort of deeper sort of intimate work with people, with others. It's very important when I come home to have someone who's supportive, and when I'm down to have someone who's going to sort of lift me up, like, you got this, like we can get through it together, how can I help, like someone who's supportive. Supportive could be a ton of different things, like someone who can you want a cooked meal, or you want me to help you with the chores or whatever around the house, like stuff like that, like home Susie homemaker type stuff is great. But overall, like the biggest word that kind of came to mind was like a cheerleader, someone who's supportive, who's got my back, who's rooting for me, who's not sort of belittling me or down talking me. Like if I'm not making enough money that month, or something's going south over here in another area of my life, and they're not like, I told you so, you're wrong, sort of like coming together, being supportive, lifting each other up. I think that's really important. Trust, obviously one of the biggest ones on there. Someone who's like not going to go outside of the relationship as far as an affair, or whether that's emotional, sexual, or the other. Sexual chemistry was a big one for me. It would be like saying attractive, like someone who I'm attracted to. But I think it's more than just attraction. So you could have someone who's very attractive, like let's say like they meet my physical criteria when I just look at them, but chemistry is something that's much different. And sexual chemistry could be anything from just body language when you're holding hands and walking down the street, to being in bed with someone, do's and don'ts, things that you're into, likes and dislikes. So I think that's really important. Genetics was mine. That was my pick. Mm-hmm. I look at genetics, and whether that's like looking at a girl's mom, or just understanding like what the aging process will look like different cultural backgrounds as far as ethnicity have like varying degrees of aging, and like what are they doing in their regular lives to sort of foster good genetics, or maybe they have terrible genetics or whatever. But I think that's something that I always sort of subconsciously take into account.
They always tell you, look at the woman's mother,
look at the mother.
Know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the good family, that was also another really important one for me. Mm-hmm. So finances are very commonly, I think it's the number one stress on marriage is finances, and child rearing I think is number two. So having a girl who comes from a family, whether or not they're supporting financially, but at least a supportive family, like maybe there's a big decision that needs to happen, or a big problem happens and we need extra support, whether it's from me, my family, her family. It's always nice to have someone to share those financial burdens and financial responsibilities with. I think that's huge. It was something that I didn't care about at all when I was young, but as I've grown into adulthood, and you're looking like a long term, like planning a life together, I would be foolish to think that like, oh, I got this, no worries. Because I've been in relationships like that in the past, and I've harbored resentment towards my partner, even though I've been the one to create that dynamic. Like, oh, babe, you don't need to work, you don't need to do that, don't worry about it. And then like pay their rent, do this, do that, and then like hold it against them and like feel bad. So like when an argument comes up, it's like, pay the bills, and like go into that old weird shit. And like I don't want to go there anymore. Mm-hmm. Now is it a deal breaker? Like if a girl doesn't have like a really nice paying job, or a really great career, or doesn't come from a wealthy family or good upbringing, like those aren't that's not a deal breaker to me, but it is something that I consider absolutely. When I did work with my therapist on this, we talked a lot about like you got to figure out what are your negotiables? You have your non-negotiables, like I absolutely need to have these things, and then you have things that are your non-negotiables. It's like are your negotiables. Excuse me, I misspoke there. It's like looking for an apartment, right? Like I gotta have a walk-in closet. I gotta have good parking. I gotta have washer and dryer in unit. Washer and dryer in unit's absolutely must. That's a deal breaker, right? That is a non-negotiable. But then there's also other things as far as like your walk-in closet, a nice balcony, needs to have a bathtub, has to have granite countertops. These are nice things, and it would be great to have, you know, an apartment or a girlfriend who has all those boxes checked. But there's going to be some things where people fall short. People are fallible. People aren't perfect, and to have an unrealistic expectation for a partner, I think is can be something that can get us into trouble, right?
Oh yeah.
So sort of figuring out and defining what are our non-negotiables, our deal breakers, and things that we're sort of willing to sort of barter with.
I think the older you get, also, those end up, a lot of those do go away. Like when I was younger, I would say I don't want to be with a girl who's been with more than 5 guys.
Yeah.
You know, that was like my number one thing. No way. If I slept with her the first night, no possible way I could be with her.
Yeah.
Like these were thoughts I had. And the older you get, you're like, that's just unrealistic.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, how many people have I been with? And I'm assuming my wife, you know, girl, whoever it is, has only been with 2 or 3 people. Are you crazy?
Yeah, absolutely.
40,
in this day and age, it's very uncommon.
Yeah, it's an and that goes with your own self, how you feel about yourself. And that was the problem when I was younger. I didn't feel good about
insecurity,
myself, so I was completely insecure. And now all that's right out the door. So
it's great. When I was young, man, I didn't care about anything except if I was attracted to them. Anything. I didn't care if you could carry a conversation. I didn't care if you were intellectual. I didn't care if you came from a good family. I didn't care about any of this. I cared about trust, like being faithful.
I didn't even care about. Well, I did, but I would still date girls who weren't trustworthy.
Yeah.
Like it would bother me, and I would just drive into my own insecurity. It was horrible. I was putting myself in the worst positions because they were hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So stupid.
Yeah, there's a really funny, and I don't want to get super freaking offensive on this show, but there is some truth to this. And it's a guy doing guy stuff, talking like guys about girls, and it's super degrading. But there is some truth to it. It's a video called "The Hot Crazy Matrix." Have you heard this?
No.
So this guy breaks down like, you know, how good looking a woman is in proportion to how crazy they are, right? And there's this diagram about the quadrants, and you know, girls over here, girls over there, like your marriage material, your strippers, or like your wife material versus like, you know, unattractive and all this stuff. And it's like I said, it's very misogynistic, but there is some truth to it. And the point I'm trying to make is that like there is a diagram that will directly justify how much a man is willing to put up with, and it's directly correlated to how attractive he thinks that she is. And that doesn't mean she has to be a perfect 10. It's just what you're into, right? But that is definitely something, a pattern that I noticed is like, oh, you know, she irritates me here, irritates me there, but like, man, she's so pretty, you know, like I can deal with this. Or like even like convincing yourself that like she's funny, or that she has like a totally different personality, and my friends are seeing something so different. They're like, and then once the relationship ends, they bring it up. They're like, "Didn't you think?" And you're like, "Yeah, you're right, man. I don't know what I was thinking." And
no idea.
But you're just so caught up in it. You know what I mean? But as I've grown into an adult, and you think about other things like, you know, like independence, that wasn't something I considered at all. You know, but it's something I've seen to be so valuable now. And then so we've touched on a lot of them, but I wanted to add hygiene, obviously great, natural beauty great. Femininity is very important, but to me, spirituality has sort of a dovetail or like a plus common interests. So that's actually where I was thinking, like, oh, spirituality, us having commonality in that area is huge, but also common interests outside. So like whether it's, oh, she likes to surf, or she likes to talk about aliens, or she likes to skydive, like whatever the common interests are, I think that's important to note as well. I think that's even a total of 11, unless I lost my 12 if you add common interests. So that's what Bill and I'm not going to speak for all men, but that's what Bill and I wrote down for what men want in a woman. This is what we wrote down. So we're going to read what we think women want from a man, and then we're going to read our insider female response to the same question, and we're going to see if we have any overlap, or see if there's anything that's just completely off. And hopefully it's just completely off, and it's actually a good conversation. But so this is what we think. I'll read this one since you read the last one. So we think that, and this is sort of in order, but not really. We think the top 5 for sure, or the top 9 we have, is number 1, feeling safe, a feeling of safety. I hear that a lot from women, like, oh, he makes me feel safe. He makes me feel safe. Number 2 is trustworthy. Number 3 is sense of humor. And we mention intelligence again, but that could also be sort of connected with intelligence, similarly how to when we were talking about the men. Financial security. I think having a good career, having a stable financial life. I think not a lot of people out there are going to be willing to admit that, but I think that is a very, very important part. I mean, I don't see a lot of, ambitious, successful, beautiful women, dating homeless people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and it's got sort of a negative connotation, but it's also like very smart and savvy to build a life that has a life with someone, or with a partner rather, that has a greater percentage of success long term. Raising kids, going to college, whatever it is, like having financial security, I think is really, really important.
No one dreams of struggling the whole life.
Yeah, absolutely. We also think that women want a good listener, someone who is understanding, a good listener. I had sexual chemistry on there. Bill tried to fight me on this. He thinks it's less important. I think it's important. I think having physical attraction / sexual chemistry with a partner, whether it's male or female, is very important. In my opinion, I'll let Bill speak on it here in a second, is that it is a great indicator of the strength and health of a relationship. I'm also a man, so like this is sort of why we're talking about it. What do you think about sexual chemistry? You didn't want to put it on there.
No, because I've had a lot of girlfriends in my life, not just friends who are girls, and sex is important, 100%. But I think that's actually
sexual chemistry.
Sexual chemistry is important, but that's on the back burner for most of the women I've talked. They would much rather have a lot of these other things.
Yeah, trust, feeling of safety.
Sexual chemistry, I think that's something that can be built. Also, it's not something that sometimes two people have
right out the gate. I would agree. It's definitely something that grows over time. But I think it's essential.
Yeah,
I think it's essential.
But we're talking about when the first things you need right when you're, you know what I mean. So I think that's one of those things that can be built. As long as you have decent sex.
Have you ever been with a woman and then not wanted to pursue something with her, at least from the initial date or initial encounter, because you had poor sexual chemistry? So have I.
Yeah,
but that kind of contradicts what you just said.
Yeah, but that's a man's thoughts. I'm trying to think
like a woman. Okay.
And maybe it's because I'm not bad in bed. I've never had that.
Huh. Bill's never had that complaint. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill has never had that complaint ever.
No, but
you heard it here live. That's a Lost in the Sauce exclusive right there.
But I'm sure, men, and maybe this is just misogyny. What I'm saying is bad, but I think men are at least openly a lot more sexual than women are. Maybe not in the bedroom.
You mean like publicly?
Yeah, publicly.
Yeah.
So,
it's also frowned upon for women to be sexual. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, when you get a girl in a bedroom and she's crazy, you're like, this is great. And maybe she thinks, oh, this guy, he's not even adventurous.
You ever been intimidated by a woman who's more experienced?
Oh, yeah. We already had a show about it, but ass play, yeah, I had that, and I was completely like a little boy.
Yeah, I've had that a couple times. Yeah. Not a couple times, I'm saying, like once or twice, where I've run into, not because I'm some fucking dynamo, but just because of my lifestyle or whatever. But where I was like the toys, the things, the categories, all the stuff, right, is on the table, and it's like, I've never done that. Like, let's just pretend like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And like having her take the lead to me was very emasculating.
Yeah.
But like, I think it's fun, like when you're with someone, having sex or being intimate, to play with that masculine, feminine vibe. That, I mean, ass play is a great example, right? How more feminine could that be for a man to be participating on, like the other end, right? You know what I mean? The other end of it. So, all right. So past sexual chemistry, we thought it was really important. We may be completely off. we thought that women wanted men who are charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
So sense of humor is a part of that. Obviously, intelligence is a part of that, but charisma, like someone who's sort of like
who can take
confident
over a room when they come into her friends.
Yeah,
and
confident. Not necessarily cocky, but charisma. Maybe well spoken.
Yeah.
Articulate, things like that.
I wrote that the charismatic because I think with women, they like to impress their friends first. I think that's a big thing. Like they want their friends to like them, just like guys want their guy friends, but they don't really care as much. But I think women care more, and I think if you can meet her family and you can meet her friends, and they all give her the thumbs up,
that's important.
That's very important.
Yeah, and that's connected with the charisma.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Overall, good person.
Yeah,
like charismatic and like morally sound are different. But I get what you're saying. Yeah. I get the point that they want to be able to kind of show you, like kind of arm candy, like, oh, the trophy wife, or arm candy, that men, okay, this is my girl, she's so pretty, all your boys, oh my gosh, she's so hot. Yeah. But to like have her close family group or social group be impressed. Yeah. Right. And I think charisma is a part of that.
Yeah. Huge.
We also thought it was important for women to have a man that's ambitious, someone who's not lazy, someone who's willing to go the extra mile to, not just take care of the family, but to get stuff done, to solve problems. You could even say like being like handy around the house is part of that, like being able to get stuff done, and not someone who's going to be, just sitting around moping, and being lazy. I think lazy is very unattractive for both ways. I don't think it's attractive for women to be lazy either. I want them to be a bit ambitious. I don't know if it made our top 10.
You know what? One more
independence and ambition, kind of.
Well, you want. I also think, and we didn't write this, but I was just thinking about it when you said that. You want kind of a masculine man. I think women do. They want a guy who could change the tires, who will, if something's wrong with the car, they could actually go under and at least try to fix it. If they need to change the oil, they can do that. Maybe they don't always. Like I can do all of that, but I still take it to Jiffy Lube.
Still call AAA. Yeah.
But I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? I've been in situations where, if something breaks, I can fix it.
Yeah.
I'll figure out a way to fix it.
If you got duct tape,
yeah,
and like a Phillips head screwdriver, you can fix most anything.
just
duct tape.
The movie Skyscraper.
yeah. That's a good movie. Yeah. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I liked it. It was
entertaining. A little short, but the duct tape stuff.
Yeah.
Duct tape's a cure all, man.
Oh,
dude, I have friends. They're really handy. I'm not like the handiest of handyman, but I can do cars and stuff, tires and brakes, and I've even built an engine, but I probably couldn't do it now. Yeah. I mean, if I was on YouTube long enough, I could probably do anything, which is pretty cool about this day and age.
Yeah.
But he would like gouge himself with like a miter saw or a jigsaw or whatever saw and just duct tape it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
throw some
hammer his nail. Yeah, super glue, duct tape, and just back at it. You know what I mean? Like back at it. I don't know if I'm quite there yet.
No.
I've done super glue. Yeah, actually, super glue, because it smells so toxic, is actually like if you go to the hospital and they glue your like a wound that needs stitches, it's actually the same exact thing you would get in super glue. Crazy glue, super glue, whatever. It's actually the same stuff chemically. So it's not out of the realm of insanity or obscenity to super glue a wound, which is pretty wild. I will say, you weren't with me in Mexico. I was with Blake. I cut my hand up all over the reef, but it was like 6 to 8 feet over at Zippers. It was perfect out. I think it was like his birthday or my birthday. It was just amazing. And I ripped my hand open. Stitches ripped my hand open on the bottom. He thinks it was barb, like rebarb, like cement and like wrought iron and stuff. But I don't know if it was a rock or rebarb or whatever. And I'm gushing blood. I'm up on the beach. I'm like, man, this is gonna end. And it's like after a hurricane. It's like dirty brown water. Like I cannot be going out there with an open wound. I could get sick, So I go home back to the house and hit it with some of the not rubbing alcohol, the other one, hydrogen peroxide. Clean it all out, get it nice, put a waterproof bandage on it. I put a kitchen glove, like a rubber thick kitchen glove, and then just duct taped it.
So no water gets
and then went and paddled out. It actually ended up getting waterlogged within like the first 5 minutes, but it felt pretty like gritty,
I'm making it out.
It's so important. I need to surf. Like that was pretty cool. And then last but certainly not least, we put intelligence on the list. we almost didn't remember to put intelligence
Yeah.
for both men and women, which is surprising. It's surprising to see like how we think about women and how we think women think about men, and for that to have sort of fallen so low on the list. But I think after we reflected on it, it most certainly is important and something that should be, we thought, maybe even be higher on the list.
Well, I think intelligence it can go. I'm not talking, but when I say intelligence, I don't mean book smart either. I just mean you can
carry a conversation. I think wittiness.
Yeah.
Like someone who's, like gets the joke.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like sort of understands life, like things like that. Whether you want to call that street smarts, I think that's sort of a dated term for it.
It just, as long as you know a little bit about a lot of things, like that's what I always say about myself. I know a little bit about a lot of things and a lot about very
nothing.
Little. Very little.
You know a lot about Bill.
Yeah. And even that I'm confused about.
Even then I'm lost in the sauce. So we're gonna if you guys want to put what your top 5 in the comments, we'd love to hear from both men and women. I don't know how many people are actually tuned in right now, but it would be great to hear from both men and women. It would be amazing. But we're gonna read here in a second. We got some insiders of the opposite gender. We're gonna read to you what they think is the most important things in a man when looking for a man, and then what they thought men think are the most important things when looking for a woman. So let me pull mine up here.
You want to go yours first?
Sure. My insider's asking me if we're live. I'm like, yeah, we're live. All right, so first things first. This is what a woman is looking for in a relationship. Obviously, this doesn't go for every woman out there, but this is what my insider told me about as far as what she's looking for in a relationship as a woman with a man. Number one, I don't know if this is in any specific order, but number one, she has trust and respect. I think that's fair. Number 2 is emotional intimacy, more of a caregiver role, safety, and physical intimacy, attraction is secondary. So I think that's sort of an important distinction there, like emotional intimacy. So the in-depth conversations about life, about that's really it. Intimacy, getting to know each other at a level of depth. I think that would be a fair way to define intimacy.
Well, when you think about it, when you're in a new relationship, a lot of it is just physical intimacy. You feel the love, you have all that, but you don't really even know that person. You guys, it's just more physical at that point. So to have that mental to build that it's even more beautiful.
Yeah, the emotional connection.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is, and I know I don't want to spend hours on this, but I think it's important to note that sometimes when you're in a relationship, emotional intimacy, that is something that's very personal, it's very private. It can be uncomfortable for both men and women to be emotionally intimate with one another, and I think it is a good waypoint or a good sign of a strong relationship when you've reached a point where you are emotionally intimate and are seeking to be more and more emotionally intimate as sort of the days, months, years go on. But I will say, doing what I do for work, that I'm dealing with high level emotions all of the time, whether they're my own, being an entrepreneur and running a business, or working closely with others who are struggling mentally, that sometimes when I come out, like my emotional intimacy meter is so drained that like I would want to like sometimes keep it surface and keep it chill. How was work? Work was good. You know what I mean? Like put on the Golf Channel or The Bachelor or whatever the hell we're doing. Like you got to pick your moments with me.
Yeah.
That sometimes I'm a little drained. And I'm also a solutions guy, and why this makes sense is, as far as emotional intimacy, when I'm frustrated and I have something going on, I'm not going to give you that intimate moment of why I'm struggling until I get to the solution. And I know that's what women want. They want to be supportive. They want to be able to be there for you. They want to be part of the growth, part of the solution. But I'm stubborn, and when I need to get to that point where I've crossed through processing the frustration into solution, and once I get to solution, I'm going to be more likely to share that and bring you into the solution. But I think that's a good thing to note, is that sometimes emotional intimacy for me, in my experience, needs to. It's not all day, every day. That's it could be exhausting. So I think if balanced in the right way, what do you think? I mean, you spoke a little bit about it.
Oh yeah, I totally had something to say right now. I was thinking, I'm the same way. I wanna process things by myself, but then going through therapy and learning that my wife wants to be part of that whole process, but I get frustrated because I want to. She'll say something that I've already thought of, and I'm like, babe, you don't think I've already thought of that? When all she's trying to do is help, and I'm not in the right space of mind.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's rough. I deal with that all the time.
So you're a solutions guy too. You want to cross 100%. The frustration, get into that solution. Okay, now we can start implementing.
I'm a solutions guy with everything. So if my wife says, "Oh, the sink's not working right now," I'm the type, okay, I'm gonna go fix it right now. And then I'm frustrated that I have to go fix it right now. But she's like, "I didn't want you to fix it right now. I just want to let you know that that's going on. I want to fix it. That's part of it. That's what I do.
Yeah, it's part of being Bill.
And that's something I don't know. I don't know how to fix that. That's just my nature. But I do recognize it, so it's good.
Absolutely. I just think that it's not in our nature to be that intimate with everyone in our lives. That's why you have surface sort of acquaintance friends. You have your ride or dies. You have your therapists. You know what I mean? You have people who are going to know the raw ins and outs of parents.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think everyone, in my opinion, I don't think everyone should even be given that right.
Yeah.
Like I keep it on the surface with many people for good reason, right? Because that level of depth could be used against me. Yeah. It's uncomfortable. There's some fear there. Maybe there's some shame there, some guilt, whatever. So emotional intimacy. Third thing she has is intentionality. And in parentheses, we have thoroughness in love, proactiveness within the relationship, and life in general. So I have a little experience with having a good grasp of what she's talking about here, and I'll probably fuck this up and hear about it later. But intentionality, like proving, like showing rather that like I'm in it for us, and I'm not just in it for me. Like oh, this is for you, this is for me. But like I'm continually showing and proving that I'm trying to, be better in the relationship. Get better at some of the stuff I'm maybe not doing so great. But showing that intention, I think is really, really important. The fourth thing she has is authenticity and strength. I think authenticity, so staying true to oneself, to thine own self be true, I think would be a good way to summarize that. Strength could be taken in a bunch of ways. Physical, actual strength, mental strength, spiritual, all that. And then let's see here. And then fifth, she has commitment to me, the relationship, but also to personal goals and self-development / ambition. Now, when we wrote this down, if I take a look at her top 5 compared to, so sexual chemistry is not on there, financial security is not on there, sense of humor is not on there, trust is on there, a feeling of safety is on there, ambition is mentioned, and let's see, I don't know if even intelligence. So, but we did 10, right? And they did 5. So obviously, if we were going to open up this list and create, 10, 15, we could go on forever. You got your boy Tal Vincent is saying hello on YouTube. Yeah. Shout out to Tal. Hopefully you're enjoying yourself. If you got your list of your men wants in a relationship, or in what you think a woman might want in a relationship, feel free to comment below.
Yeah, they're a great couple, Tal.
Yeah, shout out.
Shout out to Michael Vincent.
So it's interesting to see the disconnect there, right? Yeah. Us as men, what we think women are into. I thought financial security would definitely be mentioned, but it's okay. And then what she thinks men look for: trust and respect, physical attraction, more important to men than women, physical intimacy, emotional support, a cheerleader, which I mentioned, and fun space. So like time for the boys, or to golf, like your like me time.
Independent.
Yeah, independence for sure. To just relax and forget about things. It's more support focused than intimacy. So that was sort of one big thing. So trust and respect, that whole thing I just said is number 2. So that's like 10 different things, but it's okay. And then 3, intentionality, being proactive and putting forth effort. I think that's important. Proving to one another that you're still interested. that you're willing to do the little extra things to make your partner feel special. I think that's sort of what she's getting at. And then personality, intelligence, and femininity. She has a 3-pack there for number 4. And then number 5, a woman with goals, securing herself, her own life motivation. So I think that's similar to like independence, ambition. She definitely hit it on the head as far as physical stuff, the support stuff. Here, go up a sec. Let's see if there's any disconnects or anything.
This is all what men want.
Yeah, so good family's not mentioned. Hygiene isn't specifically mentioned. She does mention femininity. Spirituality is not mentioned. Genetics. I knew genetics was going to be sort of a. That's something I'd done subconsciously. I didn't think that was going to be like a guaranteed. Oh, that's going to be on the list. But she has a late text here to add to hers is masculinity, which we have on there, which is important to note. And then what about you? You got a list over there, don't you?
Yeah, it's actually similar. So what she thinks, or yeah, what she wants in a man, what she thinks women would want in a man. Sensitive, emotional support. That's one. To be sensitive, to listen.
So basically, so what she wants in a man, not what she thinks women want, but
yes,
what she wants.
Okay. Sensitive, emotional support, and then giving and spoiling, hugs, attention, love, expressions. So showing love, spoiling them with attention. That doesn't have to be presence, just showing that you love them and consistently. Smart, funny, and diligent. Working. She only put a few. Working, have dreams. So ambitious. Wait, this is where I'm the wrong one. So she doesn't have even the
good listener. I think is in there, right?
Let's see. Emotional support, giving and spoiling, hugs, attention, love, expression, smart, working.
I think trust is sort of a given.
Yeah, I think
like it's not that she doesn't want a man
at the very beginning.
No woman's gonna want a man who's cheating on them, running around.
Yeah, so I guess some of these are obvious. Trust would be an obvious one.
Yeah. Is intelligence listed?
No. She has smart.
Smart, yeah.
So intelligence is,
Sense of humor on there.
Funny. That's part of it. And diligent. So
nothing sexual.
Ambitious.
What about physical attraction, sexuality? No. Nothing?
Nothing.
Interesting. And then what did she put for what she thinks men want?
What she thinks men want. So she put sex, and love sex. And then her new one is sex, give space, don't ask questions, hate to talk.
Hate to talk?
Yeah.
So
she's speaking about me.
So the funny thing here is that like I got a disclaimer this before I give my feedback. As let's say traditional that those beliefs are as far as what women think men want.
Yeah.
She is very she's on to something with that list. And if I was comfortable enough with myself broadcasting my truth to the world, like I don't know if it would look just like that, like don't talk, shut up, you know what I mean? Like it's not like that, but there is some truth to what she said for sure. I think men need their space. They want to be able to sort of do their own thing with their boys. I think it's a good generalization that men don't want to be confronted or demeaned. Like they want to be right. I think women want to be right too. So there's a part of the problem right there is that everyone thinks they're always right, and being a good listener and being open to other people's viewpoints and perspective is really, really important piece of a relationship. You could even call that effective communication, right? But I think it's I got a chuckle when you read that because she's on to something for sure.
Well, I think honestly, being supportive is part of what she's saying. Like, don't ask questions and hate to talk. That for her to not ask me questions is being supportive of me because she knows that I'm in that frame of mind.
Yeah, and you're going to be irritated if you ask.
So she's giving me that space. So that is supportive in a sense. And then hate to talk.
It's like not wanting to talk about feelings.
Yeah.
Like, hey, babe, we need to talk.
Like,
that is the scariest text.
The worst.
Oh my God, we need to talk.
And honestly, and when I hear that, it automatically puts me in like a weird mood.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. It ruins my day.
Yeah. It's just.
I get that choked up thing in your stomach, in the pit of your stomach. You know what I mean? When you need to talk is never good.
And again, as long as the intentions are there, so I don't get mad anymore. I get irritated still, but I don't get mad because I know where her intentions are. Her intentions are trying to be supportive and trying to be, but now she knows how I am, and her support is letting me watch TV for an hour.
give him his space right now. Yeah,
Give me my time, and so it's great. I understand exactly what she's.
I think so because we're getting to the point where we're past our usual hour limit, but I think this was a good exercise for a couple different reasons. But it's interesting to see. Like it'd be nice to have like an actual panel of women like sort of rattle this off, because I think as each woman would go, others would remember like, oh yeah, that's also really important to me too. So for things to be left out, like trust, I think that's an absolute given. Like no one's gonna want infidelity in a relationship or a marriage. But I think traditionally there are these typecasts, sort of these archetypes that men think women are this way and women think men are this way, and there are some patterns there, right? There is some truth to those traditional ways, but there's obviously going to be exceptions to the rule. Now, we don't have time to go into transgender, gay, lesbian relationships. We don't have time to do all that stuff. Questioning Q or whatever pronoun you choose. So we apologize for sort of making this a traditional discussion. But for people who are out there, we'd love to hear from you, man. If you have some stuff that maybe you left off, or if your top 5 would look differently, I think it's interesting to sort of to bring that to light.
You could message us your top 5, and we'll go through it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then and for anyone out there, I'll give a couple shout outs. I know I got Chris, obviously Bill behind the scenes. Bill is now in front of the scenes is watching, so I'll give a shout out to you, even though you're on the chat. But for everyone who's tuned in on Facebook, on YouTube, man, we appreciate the support. Appreciate you guys tuning in every week. If you guys have ideas for segments or thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, like, hey, I love this. I thought this was terrible. We love the feedback. We love the engagement. If you guys want to support the show, don't forget to like and follow. We're doing giveaways at 100 followers for both my host page, Killshot CA, the Lost in the Sauce show page on Facebook as well. At the Instagram, we're gonna have giveaways on all that stuff. Don't forget, if you want to get involved, to get out, have some fun, we have all this lifestyle stuff planned, and that's sort of starting to get some legs as far as the golf tournaments, the skydiving, and if you have ideas for events, if you want to do like a volleyball thing or a mixer, I'd love to have like a mixer, whether it's a dating mixer or entrepreneurial like work business type mixer. I think that's something we're gonna do in the future. So we're excited for that. But yeah, so I want to thank Bill for stepping in. I know he's got a mic now, but now he's in the camera this week. Shout out to Chris. We hope you're feeling better, and we'll catch him next week as well. If you want to get a hold of us, it's Lost in the Sauce Show on Instagram, Lost in the Sauce Show on Facebook, Killshot CA on Instagram, Killshot CA on Facebook, Twitter. I don't fucking tweet at all, but it's the same thing on all different platforms. Bill, you want to make any plugs before we sign off?
YouTube Live, that's what we're on every weekend. You could rewatch the shows at Lost in the Sauce Show on YouTube.
On YouTube?
Yeah, so you could pick up old episodes. We'll be adding more episodes too. There's only like 3 or 4 on right now.
Yep. And as we go along, hopefully the shows are getting better. Hopefully they're more entertaining. But we'd love the feedback. If there's something, if you guys have an idea, feel free to submit it. You can submit it anonymously. If you have a story you want us to go to dive into, or a problem that you're dealing with, feel free to submit that to the page as well. And with that being said, I think that's a wrap.
Well, and if anybody wants to sponsor, we have a few sponsors right now. If anybody else wants to sponsor,
yeah, if you guys want to get on board and help us get some events going, we're open to taking sponsorship offers. We'll get some sweatshirts made, logos, whatever you need. Get some coffee mugs. But thanks again, guys, for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.
Thank you.
Peace.